Let's take a look at the website that we'll be designing in this tutorial. So this is designed using Divi 5 and WooCommerce. So I'll be showing you everything that you need to know about designing websites that sell products online. And in this case, we're going to be using the latest technologies in Divi 5. For example, the loop builder was used to design this layout, and we also used Flexbox. So you're not only going to learn how to design an e-commerce website, but you're also going to learn how to use the latest features in Divi 5. So for example, if you come over here to the shop, you can see it's well designed, and I also show you step by step how to create all of this. Now, what makes this tutorial even awesome is when you click on a product, for example, you click on buy now, you get a unique layout for all your product pages. So you're not going to get your standard page that looks very boring, but you're going to get a styled page that looks like this. And I'll show you how to add a testimonial right there. And when you go all the way down here, you can see we also have related products. And all these products all have a similar layout, which means they're going to be very, very consistent, which is what makes proper professional design look like. So you can see here we have our related products and so on. If we go to our checkout here, we also have a nice, clean, simple checkout page. And we also have the My Account page here. Again, it's very simple, nice, clean layout. And we also have the cart over here. So I'll be showing you everything that you need to know about designing this website from scratch. So if you are a freelance designer or a design agency, you are going to learn a lot from this tutorial, and it's quite long as well. Now, if you want to master Divi 5, I also have a course right here. It's only $27. And I mean, so far, 670 students have taken this course. So this is your opportunity to get a hold of this course. It's at a 50% discount. So go ahead and purchase it. The link to that, it will be in the video description below. And also, if you haven't signed up for Divi University, head over to diviuniversity.com. This is a platform and a community for Divi users. Go ahead and sign up for free. And finally, if you want to buy me a coffee, you can do so by heading over here to buy me a coffee. This is how you can show me your appreciation if you get benefits from my video. So let's dive in and let's get started. In order for you to have a successful online store, you need great hosting. And there's so many companies out there that offer web hosting, but I highly recommend SiteKrafter. And SiteKrafter is specifically optimized to work really, really well with Divi. And if you use the link I've provided in the video description below, you're going to get 83% discount. So that is huge. All right, so let's get started here. I'm on siteground.co.uk, but in your case, you'll be on siteground.com depending on where you are. So the first thing you want to do is to click on Start Now. And then you want to take a look at these plans. Now, the one I highly recommend is the Grow Big, because here you can have unlimited websites. This is ideal if you're a freelancer or if you're a design agency. So this works really, really well. But if you want to just try it out on one website, you can go with this plan right here. All right, so let's say you've decided which plan to go with. You want now to click on Get Plan. Okay, so this now takes you to this page, which is step 2. So this is where you can enter your domain name, or if you have an existing domain, you can click on this button here, and this is where you'd enter your existing domain. So in my case, I could say diviuniversity.com like that, and then I'll click on Continue. So now the next stage is where you enter your account information. So here is where you'd enter your email address, you'd enter your password and confirm your password. Now this stage here is very important because this is what you're going to use to log into your dashboard for SiteKrafter. Next, this is where you add your client information, of course. You can specify your country, your address, first name, last name, and so on. And then finally over here, this is where you enter your payment information. And then here it confirms that this is the Grow Big, but you also have the opportunity to change this right now by clicking over here if you want a 24-month contract, you can go with that. Or if you want your 12-month, and this is the best deal, by the way. And you can see here that this is 83% off, which is fantastic. Now, there's also some extra services, and this is what is super important if you're running a website that sells products. In this case, this is what we're doing. You definitely need to have a site scanner, and you also need premium backup. Because as you can imagine, let's say people are buying products on your website, something goes wrong with your website and it's gone. You don't want to lose all your details. Ideally, you want to make sure all that is secure. So this is where you want to perhaps select premium backup. But if you want to do your own backups, you can pretty much do your own backups. It's up to you. And then once you're done, you can go ahead, click on I confirm and click on pay now, and pretty much you are good to go. Now, in my case, I already have an account. So all I have to do now is to click on login. So I'm going to go ahead and enter my information here and then click on login. Okay, so this is what the dashboard looks like. So here I can, I have my website. So if you have a few websites, they will show here. And as you can see, I only have one website. Now, the beauty with SiteGround is I can go in and create a website without setting up my domain right away. Okay, so which is really, really good as well. All right, so let's head over to this tab for our websites. And on the top here, you can see it says new website. I can go ahead and click on a new website. So now I want to select a temporary domain. And by the way, this is a very good option because after I've built the website, I can also connect that website to an existing domain. And that process is very, very easy. I'm going to go ahead now and click on select and then click on continue. Right, so it's asking me two options here, start a new website or migrate a website. So I'm going to go ahead and choose select a website. So here we have two options. We have SiteGround website builder or WordPress. Okay, so I can just say skip and create blank site, or I can just choose WordPress. So in this case, we are going to use WordPress. I'm going to go ahead and select that. And now it's asking me for a setup login and password. So I'm going to give it Mac at Creative Astro. And then I want to enter my password. Okay, that's great. I'm going to click on continue. So I'm going to leave these for now. I'm going to say no, thank you. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish. So now it's going to create my website. Now, sometimes it takes a bit of time. It's just going to depend with your internet connection, but usually this process is really fast. So while this is happening, the next thing that we need to do is to download Divi. Now, I really, really, really highly recommend that you go ahead and start working with Divi 5 because this is the future of Divi. Divi 4 does not have many advanced features and pretty much is going to become redundant. So you might as well get started with Divi 5. And even although it is right now in the alpha stage, and by the way, this is the right time to purchase Divi because there is a summer sale and it still has some time here. Again, I'll leave the link to that in the video description below. But of course, if the summer sale is over when you're watching this video, it's still okay. You can still go ahead and purchase Divi using my affiliate link. Next, I'm going to click on download Divi 5 Alpha. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now it's asking me to log in. I'm going to go ahead and log in because I have an account. And now it's asking for my authentication code. Now I've made my site very secure, and that is why I've set up an authentication code. Okay, so I have to go through my app for this. So I got elegant themes here. So my code is 026476. So I've taken this step because I just wanted extra security. But in your case, if you don't really need this, it's pretty much up to you. All right. So now it's saying link your device. Okay. So I have to check my email for my confirmation. Okay, so now that I've linked my account, I can now proceed to the members area. So this is where we have the old Divi. Okay, so you don't want to use this one here. Just leave that for now. So what we need to do now is to type in Divi 5. Great. So now we're on this page. I'm going to go ahead now and click download Divi 5 Alpha. I'm going to scroll down and here it is. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And this is going to download the latest version. Next, I'm going to come back over here on my site and let's take a look. Right. Okay. So we are all set now. I can either view the site, log into the admin, or site tools. So I just need to go straight to the admin because we need to get going now. All right. So I can say start now. In fact, exit the wizard. You don't need the wizard. You just want to go straight in. And this is my main dashboard. So the first thing I need to do here is to install a Divi. So I'm going to come over here to appearance, click on themes, add theme. So remember, we've just downloaded Divi. So we need to upload it by clicking on this button here, which says upload theme, choose file. So I know everything is in my downloads folder and here it is. Double click on that. Install now, and this now is going to install Divi 5. Next, I'm going to hit activate. Now, here's the thing. Now, this stage is very, very important because you want to make sure you keep getting the latest updates from Elegant Themes. So you want to make sure that you log in and activate your license. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And I think it's going to authenticate once more. And let's quickly do that as well. So 560776. Okay, great. So now that I have that, I'm going to log in. Now my account is connected and you can see on the top here, it's saying Divi is up to date. So whenever there's an update, I'll see everything in this dashboard. All right, great. So we're progressing really well here. The next step now is to, just do a bit of housekeeping. So what I need to do is come over here to my dashboard. So the great thing is we have this dashboard that we get with SiteKrafter. So everything is okay here. I'm going to go to updates, make sure everything is fine. Okay, great. The next thing we need to do now is to install WooCommerce because this is the engine that's going to run our online store. So I'm going to come over here to plugins and then click on add plugin. Next, we're going to come over here to the top and search for WooCommerce and then click. Oh, that's automatic. I was going to click enter or press enter. Right, so here it is. I'm going to click on install now and then activate. Now, WooCommerce is a huge plugin, so sometimes things can get a bit slow, but thankfully with SiteKrafter, at least it's optimized, so it should run pretty much okay on SiteKrafter. Okay, so here is WooCommerce. So what we need to do now is to set it all up properly. So we're going to come over here to WooCommerce, make sure everything is okay. And there we go. So we have the wizard. So I'm going to skip the guided setup. Okay, I'm in the UK, but if you're in America, you click on this drop down and then you search for United States. So I'm just going to choose California here, just so that you know, how to set it all up if you're in a different country. Okay, so it's going through this. Okay, we're almost there. And now it's asking me to customize my store, add products and so on. Now, I don't need to go through all of this. We're going to go straight into building our site. So let's go ahead and do that. But before we do that, we need a few pages that we need to set up. So these pages are as follows. We need the home page, we need the contact page, but the rest of the pages are already set up. All right, so let's go ahead and add our pages. So I'm going to head over to pages, click on all pages so I can see what was installed. Okay, so we've got our cart, our checkout, account, private policy, refund, and then sample page. Now this sample page here, we don't need it, so let's go ahead and get rid of it. We're gonna hit trash. Next, I'm gonna hit add page. So the page we are going to add is the home page. So I'm gonna name this home, publish it. I'm going to uncheck this button here because it's always in the way and hit publish. Okay, great. So we've published our page. Now at this stage, you can click on this icon here, click on the plus button and then add page because it's very important you have a contact page. So we're going to go ahead, type type contact. I'm going to publish it. Great. So that's published now. So back over here, the next step is to fix our menu. Now you may be wondering, why do we need to fix our menu right now? Well, let me show you what the site looks like right now. So when I open here, things don't look great here. I'm going to refresh. Okay, there we go. So you can see we have this menu right here, but this is not set up correctly because I can see that this is the default menu. So we need our own menu. So let's fix our menu. I'm going to come over here, go to appearance, and then we're going to go to menus. We're going to name our menu. We're going to call this main menu. And we're going to set this as our primary menu. It's very important that we do that. And then we're going to say create. Okay, let's save. Next, we're going to come over here and view all the pages. It's very important we do this because we want to select all these pages. So we're going to say select all and add to menu. All right. So now all my pages are added to the menu. So we can see here we have 2 home links. So the one that we don't need is the one that says custom link. So let's go ahead and delete it. Okay. So now we have our pages. All I have to do is to reorder these. And the one I want all the way at the bottom here is the contact, and my shop perhaps maybe could be the second one. The cart could be maybe all the way to the end. I mean, there's no written rule for this, but it just depends how you want to set everything up for yourself. So now I'm going to hit save menu. So now that I've saved the menu, if I come over here to this tab and refresh, now notice what it looks like right now. If I now refresh, you're going to notice now that this is pretty much how we've set it up. Contact is all the way at the end and shop is right here. And that is great. Okay, so now that we've set this, if we take a look at this page, you can see it says no results found, right? That's because our website is not set as the home page. This is a blog page. So the next step now is to come back over here, and we are going to head over to settings. We're going to click on reading, and this is where we need to set our static page. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to set my home page as the static page. Click on save changes. Great. Now, if I come over to my site and I hit refresh, now we have the home page set. Of course, we haven't designed it yet, but we're moving in the right direction. Excellent. Okay, so back over here now. The next thing we need to do is to upload all our images that are needed for our store. So it's good practice that you have all your images ahead of time. And if you are the one who's providing the images, make sure that you use high quality images. What makes your store really, really stand out and believable and trustworthy is really good pictures, product images. Okay. It's very, very important. Next, I'm going now to head over to my media, which is right here at the top. Click on library, add media file. And then I'm going to select. So all my images are right here. So I'm just going to select the first one. And I want to drag all of these because I'm going to use all these images. Hit open. And now all my images are going to be added onto my media library. So when I start building my site, it's going to make things very, very easy for me. So when you look at all these products, you can see that our shop is going to sell watches, handbags or bags, and shoes. So these are the 3 main products. So with that in mind, this is going to help us now decide what categories we're going to have on the website, which is the next step that we're going to be doing now. All right, so let's close out of here. We're going to go to products. We're going to hover over here on products and then click on categories. Okay, so we have this uncategorized. I'm just going to change this by clicking on edit. I'm just going to call this latest. I hate to see that uncategorized following me everywhere I go. It doesn't really work. Okay, so over here it's asking me to upload an image. I'm going to leave that as it is. And let's add another category. So I'm going to go back to categories. And this time, this one here is going to be bags. I'm going to copy that and then just paste on my slug and then click on add new category. Okay, so now over here you can see we have bags and latest. The next category we're going to add is watches. And again, I want to copy this and paste it. Scroll down, click on add new category. And finally, we have shoes. So I'm going to type shoes again. Copy all that and paste it. Add new category. So now I have all my categories set. So if I start creating my products now, it's going to be very, very easy for me to go in and assign my products to the specific category. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come over here to all products. Now I know I don't have any products here, so I need to add a brand new product. So I'm just going to hover over here on products and just click on add new. All right. So this is the stage where we get to enter our product name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use lorem ipsum. But before I do that, let me just get rid of all these tabs here. I don't want to get confused while I'm designing. And it's also good practice for you. When you're designing, don't have too many tabs open. Right. So I'm going to copy this paragraph here. And we're going to close this as well. Did you see how confusing that is? Right. So I'm going to paste my product here. And then I'm going to go in and add this as the product name. Okay. The next step now is to add my price. So I'm going to say $2.99. Now over here on the inventory, you can go ahead and add how many are in stock. If it's out of stock, you can set it over here. I mean, this is very, very good, especially if you're selling these products. So for the SKU, this is just my number that I'm going to use. So I'm just going to call this SK, but of course you can call this whatever you want. I'm going to call this SK001. So that's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to say in stock and move on to... Okay, if you wanted to limit purchases to 1 per order, you can do that over here, but I'm going to leave that as it is. But the button that I was looking for is the stock management. So this is where I can add my quantity. So let's say I have 40 pairs of these shoes. I can just enter 40. So as people are purchasing, that number will be subtracting. So it'll be showing in real time how much or how many pairs of shoes are left, or whatever bags or whatever it is that you have your stock defined here. All right. So since I want this to be a bag, I'm going to come over here to set product image, click on media library. So this is going to be my first bag. In fact, let this be the first bag. Set product image. Great. So now I have my product image. I'm going to set this to bags. Now, if I want to, I can set this to latest as well, so that it just shows that this is the latest product. Next, I need to add my short description. So I'm going to copy this, scroll down here and paste. So pretty much we're done. I mean, here's our product tags. So let's just call this bag. I'm going to use bag as my tag. Set that up here. And pretty much that's all I need. I'm now going to publish this. And then we're going to view the page and see what it looks like. Okay, great. Now I can view it by clicking on my link, but I'm going to open this in a new tab so I can really see what it looks like. So there we go. We have our description here. We don't have any reviews, of course. We have our SKU001 here. You can see here it says 40 in stock. We have our add to cart button, and we also have our product name, and pretty much everything is looking great. If I click on that, it shows me my full product. So far, so good, but we now need to add the rest of the products to populate our store. So since you know how to add the first product here, I'm now going to go ahead and add the rest of the products. Otherwise, I'll be just repeating the same thing over and over again. So let's go ahead and add all the products. I've added all my products. And to view them, I can click here on all products. And you can see now I have them all in the right categories. So for example, here you can see I've got my watches in the right categories. I also have the bags. I also have the shoes. So everything so far is working great. So at this stage, you're probably thinking, okay, my shop is complete. I have all my pricing. Everything looks great. But here's the problem. We haven't even touched Divi yet. We actually now need to go into Divi and beautify our website and make it look awesome, because as it stands right now, it doesn't look great at all. I mean, let's take a look at this product here. So again, if you look at this product page, nothing very exciting. If we go to the shop page, again, just look, things are just stacked there. I mean, it's functional, but we want to design this and make it look really, really nice. Especially if you're a freelancer, you really want to show your client that you are very good at designing. And this, what we've just done right now, anyone can do this, So we want to now take our store to the next level. All right, so we're going to start off by setting a few things first in Divi, because these things that we're setting up are going to make our job easier as we're designing our website. All right, so back over here now, we are going to head over to pages, all pages, and we're going to start with the home page. Okay, so we're going to come over here and then we're going to click on edit with Divi. So now that we have this page open, we now need to start designing our sections and all of that. And I'm sure you're all waiting for that, but this is not the time to do that yet, because we need to head over to our variables here and we need to specify the fonts that we're going to be using. So I'm going to come over here. So right now our headings are set to Open Sans. So this is where you can decide what font you want to use. Now I want to keep my website very, very clean. So the font I'm going to use is called Poppins. Next, for my body font, I'm going to use a font called Inter. There we go. I'm going to select that and then save variables. Apply changes. So these changes are now applied across the whole website. So I'm just going to save this for now. The next stage is the colors. So for this tutorial, I'm not going to be using any my framework. I'm going to manually add everything in the actual builder. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to coolers.co. So this tool is great for choosing colors. I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to press the tab key a few times so I can generate some colors. So already I like this golden color here. So I'm going to lock it, press the tab key a few times, and I also like this Oxford blue. I'll lock that. So these are the two colors I'm going to be working with. So I'm going to now click to copy. There we go. I'm going to copy the color and then back over here on my site. I'm going to go back to variables, go to my colors, and for my primary color, which is going to be my brand color, I am going to use the color that I've just copied. Come over here, paste it. Okay. Hit enter. And now that's committed. Next, I'm going to choose the second color, and it's this one. I want to click here, copy the color. Now it's a bit too dark. Now, if I want to change this, I can just come over here, dial it down a little bit. Yeah, maybe that's much better. Okay, I'm going to copy that. Back over here on my site, I'm going to go to secondary and paste my value in here. Hit enter. And now it's committed. So everything else is fine. The heading text color is all okay. Save variables, apply changes. Great. So now I have my colors, I have my fonts all set. I'm now ready to start designing my homepage. Again, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of the colors so we don't get confused. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is to add a bunch of text. So let me just delete this and start afresh. Okay, so you're going to add one single column, and in this column we are going to add a text module like that, and we're going to we might need two of these. I'm going to duplicate it And then I might need 2 buttons. So I'm going to click here on this plus button. I'm going to go into group, and I am going to add my button this way, like that. Okay, so for now, I'm going to start off with this layout. Okay, the next step is to add my background image, because my design here is going to have a background image. So I'm going to go to my section settings here, click on background, and then I'm going to go to background image. Click on background image. Now I have the image I need to use all set ahead of time. So either I'm going to use this one or this one. So let's start with this one first and see how things look. There we go. So that's my first image. The next step now, as you can see, it's a bit too narrow. We need to increase the padding, both on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to now go to design, spacing, and the padding top we're going to add is going to be, let's start with 8 VW. Okay, so we're going to apply this both to the top and the bottom. And if we need to increase it, you can just start increasing it like this. Okay, so let's start with, let's say 12. Now let's stylize this text. So we're going to come in here. Let's go to our lorem text, and we're just going to choose a bunch of text here. In fact, let me go with this. I think I'll prefer that. But in your case, this needs to be your main copy for the website. I'm going to replace this. And then we're going to stylize this by coming over here. We're going to go to text, and then let's make it big. So we're going to start off here with a text size. So we're going to go with 32. We're going to go with pop-ins because this is going to be my heading. Font weight, we need this nice and bold. So for the size here, 32 doesn't look great. So we're going to go with 4M. Right. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. I like that. And then we need to add our line height. So we're going to start with 1. So I think 1 works fine, but we need to change the color now because right now it's set to dark. Okay. So now it's set to light. I think that works, but it needs a bit of tweaking. Next, as you can see, the text is really going too wide here, and I am not happy with that. So let's fix that. So I'm going to collapse this, or in fact, I'm going to close it and then go to sizing. So for the width here, I'm going to go with 80 ch for 80 characters. Okay, so that's not working. Okay. I wonder why characters is not working. That's strange. Anyway, we can use percentage. So let's go with 50%. There we go. So 50 is a bit too much. So let's increase this a little bit. And I like playing around with this so I can see exactly where I'm at. So let's go with, okay, let's bring it down to 66. Next, let's go into this text. Again, we're going to go with some description text. Copy that. Then back over here, I'm going to replace my dummy text with this. Go into my text here. And again, like before, we need to set our text font to Inter. And then our size here doesn't look right. So I'm going to go with 1 rem. Let's try 1.6. Because we need it nice and bigger, right? So it's easier to read. It's not our body font. So for our line height, I'm going to set this to 1. Let's see what that looks like. So let's increase this to 1.4. Okay, I think 1.4 works great. Now, just like what we did before, our text here needs to change our text color. So we can either manually do it here like that, and that works too. And then we are going to close this and go to sizing. So let's try 70. Okay, so we might as well use percentage again. So let's go 50%. There we go. So I think this works. But at this stage, we also want to make sure that everything is easy to read. And at the same time, We also want to make sure that everything looks great on all devices. So we might as well go into the tablet. And here on tablet, we might need this to be 100%. So we're going to come back, go into design, text. No, it's sizing that we need. So we have it at 66. So let's try 100. There we go. So I think 100 works great. And we also have this to worry about. I'm going to come back over here, go into my sizing, set this to 100. Okay. It's not too bad. And then finally, over here on the phone, yeah, I think the phone looks fine. Okay. So now that we have that all set, let's fix the button situation here. I'm going to go to my settings and I want to say visit store. Okay, so this will be our link to our store, and we might as well take a look at that and set it up. So I'm going to copy my text here and paste it. So this is what our website looks like so far. I'm going to go to my shop, and then I'm going to copy this URL, and then back over here, that's what we're going to add in the button URL. Okay, so now our button has a link. But we're not done yet because we need to stylize it. So now we're going to go into the design and button. So here we need to activate use custom styles for button, because this is what's going to give us all our settings to customize the button. So first of all, let's start with our background color. Now remember, I set my colors earlier on, and you can see that my colors now have been updated, and this is my primary color. So I'm going to use that as my background. But if you want, you can use your secondary color as your background. It's pretty much up to you how you want to design it. So I prefer it this way. Next, I'm going to go to my button border. And for my border, I'm going to use the same color, which is this one. Now, my texts, there isn't great contrast on my visit store text. So either I have to make it really dark, or I have to make it white, but I'm leaning more towards the dark. Okay, so let's scroll down and go to button text. Okay, so over here, button text color, let's try the dark one. Does it work? Yeah, I think that works. So I'm going to leave it like that. And we also need to choose our font. So I'm going to go with Poppins. Okay, now that stands out, much better. And I'm going to pretty much leave it like that. When you hover, I can see there's an arrow there. So it is very good. I'm going to save this. Now there's one more tweak I need to do. I'm going to come back to my section here. So you can click anywhere in the blue area here, or you can click on the gear icon to go to your section settings. So in the background here, what you need to do is to make this image here slightly dark. Okay. You don't have to do this, but I prefer to do that because it makes our text much easier to read. So again, it's also going to depend with the image. So for example, if I come over here and change this image, and let's say, for example, I choose that one, upload image, you can still see that it's not really good because we have a light background and light text. Anyway, let's go back to the image that we had before, which is that. Right. So I need to do a few things here. So everything is all centered here in the position. So let's see if I bottom center. Right. Did you see that has made a huge difference because I had so much space on the top. So bottom center really works for us here. The next step now is to add a background color to make this really stand out, or I can add a gradient coming from the left side of our image towards where the couple is. So I can go with the gradient, or in fact, let me show you both ways just in case you want to use one or the other. So here I can add black like that, close out of here. And then next, I'm going to click in this black area here and then add a bit of transparency. Close. And then over here on the image, I'm going to go to image blend. This is very important because over here on the image blend, I can go in and set this to multiply. So it's going to make everything dark, as you can see. So right now, my text is very, very easy to read, but my image is way too dark and it doesn't work. It's not working. So what you need to do is to play around with the transparency. So I'm going to click in here and then just lower it down a little bit. So let's go with 50. How about that? Okay. So I think we'll go with 50. But if you want to go a bit lower, it's pretty much up to you. Okay. So now that we have that, that's one way of making your hero area look really, really nice. Or you can add a gradient. So if we delete that, add our gradient, click on this plus button. So for our gradient, first of all, set this to 90 degrees, hit enter. So we want that the left side becomes a bit dark compared to the right side. So we're going to start off here with a really dark color, perhaps black, and you can see right away that this has made a huge change. I'm going to close, go to the second color, and this is where I'm going to set this to black as well, but I'm going to add more transparency. You see that? I can even go down as low as even 30%. So this way I have my black. In fact, I can just lower this a little bit again, maybe to about 80. And then I can just move it slightly towards the right to cover a bit more so my text can be easy to read, and then I can hit save. Now, there isn't a written rule. You have to make sure that as you're designing, this is looking the way you want it to look. Okay, so I'm going to hit save and let's do a quick preview now. Wow, look at that. I mean, that's looking great already, right? Fantastic. The next step now is to design the second part of our website. So again, we're going to come over here, click on this plus button. We're going to go to equal columns. So this here is going to be a bit exciting because I'm going to segment my information here. So I'm going to go into a group and I'm going to start off with my text. Right. Let's copy a bit of our dummy text here like that. And then we don't need this anymore. So let's get rid of that. Okay. Right. So let's go in, paste our text, and then we're going to come over here to design, set this to 1 rem, hit enter. Now I want this to be my default body text size. In fact, I'm going to go with 1.2. Okay, let's go 1.2. Okay, so this is going to be my body text size. I'm going to show you a trick here that you can also use as you're designing. So I'm going to set this as a preset. So I'm going to go to create preset, and I'm going to set this to body text. Great. I'm going to assign this as a default, save preset. Okay, so my preset is saved. That's going to be my body text. The next part of our website that we need to create is the part which shows our latest product. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come over here and click on this plus button to add a new section. And we're going to go with equal columns. What I need to do now is, because I can see that there's a bit of content I need to add in here. For example, I need to add a text module. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. So I'm going to select that and then label it. So we're just going to call this latest products like that. Okay, so that's looking great. What I'm also going to do here is to go into my main section here and give it some padding. So I'm going to come over here to design, go to spacing, and for my padding here, I'm going to go with, let's start with 8 VW. Okay, I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to add the same to the bottom as well. All right, so we're going to start with that for now. Next, let's start adding all our contents in our section here. So since we have the label, the next thing we need to do is to add another row equal columns. Now we can see here that we have a massive gap between the two. So what we need to do is to go to the section settings, and then over here on design layout, we can see by default we have Flexbox enabled. Okay, we can either go in and set this to block. Now, do you see that that gap has reduced? And with block selected, it reduces that gap right there. All right, so with that now, the next thing we're going to do is to click on this plus button to add our module. And the module we're going to add is going to be a group. Now, we're going to do a design based on the loop, which is one of the latest features in Divi 5. All right, so now that we have this, the next thing we need to add in this group is an image. So let's go ahead and add it. Next, we're going to add a text module. Okay, so that's going to be for our product title. And then on the bottom, I'm thinking we could add a button and the pricing. So let's add another group, and I'll show you in a moment why I'm adding another group. So let's go and add a button here like that. And below the button, I'm going to click on this plus button. We're going to add some text like that. Okay, so we have quite a lot going on here. So the next thing we need to do here is to start stylizing this, this group of items. So I'm going to start off with the group settings. So this is the main group that has everything in it. So I'm going to click on this gear icon. We're going to go to the background and add a background color. So I'm going to click here. And I'm going to set it to a very dark gray. Okay. So with that as my background color, I also want to add a bit of padding so I can give it, a bit of breathing room. So I'm going to come over here to design, and I'm going to start here with spacing. So let's set this to 2 rem. We're going to click on this button here. So we're going to apply it both to the top and the bottom, and then left and right. Like that. Great. So now that we have this all set, the next step now, something went wrong here. Right. Okay. So what we're going to do, you can see here, this button here is supposed to be inside this area. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to delete this. Okay. And then I'm going to hover over here and add this, or click this plus button, add a group. And now you can see the group is inside. This is exactly what we need. So sometimes if you can't see what is happening, you just have to repeat the process. So here I'm going to start with my text module. And then inside that text module, we're going to click on these 3 little dots and say add module below. And then below that is going to be a button. How about that? Great. So now we can see we have this gray area. You might as well go in and stylize this while we're here. So with this selected, I'm going to come over here to the background, click here to add background color, and I'm going to set this to white. Okay, so I can see everything. And then we're just going to lower this. We're going to work with transparency here. I'm going to set this to, let's say 10. Okay, it's our transparency. Great. So now that we have this 10 as our transparency, the next step now is to head over to design. And again, we're going to go to spacing and set this to 1 rem. Again, we're going to apply to top, bottom, left, and right. Okay, so that's looking good so far. Next, we're going to just go to our border here, and we're going to set this to 1 rem as well. That's a bit too much, so I'm going to go 0.8. Okay, I think, okay, let's try 0.6. Now, this is something that you have to keep trying. So I think I'll go with let's go with 0.6. Okay. So that's going to be my radius I'm going to do the same to the image as well. So I'm going to come over here, go to design, border, and set this to 0.6 rem. Hit enter. I'm also going to do this to the main group. Click on the gear icon, design, and then we're going to come over here to border, 0.6 rem, enter. Okay, so this might need to be a bit more. So let's just dial it up a little bit. So I think 0.8 will do. Okay, so far so good. The next thing I need to do now is to head over to the group settings here. And I'm going to go into design, layout, and we have flex mode set here, but it's going the wrong direction. I want this side by side like that. So I have my button on the side and I have my text on the left. And for the text, I'm going to set this to a price. Okay, so with that, I also need to add space between. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Or should I say space around? Okay, I'm going to set it to space around. And then I'm going to align item center as well, because that's very important. So with that now, we are very close to our final design. All right, so now that I have this, I'm going to save this as my product loop. Okay, it's very important we do that. So I'm going to come over here to group settings, go to my default preset here, and then I'm going to create a new preset from current styles. Next, I'm going to go to preset settings. And like I said, I'm going to set this to product. Let's go to product loop. I won't assign this as a default. I just need this to be saved up there just in case I need to use it as we're designing further. All right. So now that I have that all set, it's time now to activate the loop. So with that selected, make sure you have selected the group. You go to loop and then you activate the loop. Right. So with the loop activated, post type is going to be product. So we're going to come over here, scroll all the way down until we find products. There we go. So now we have our products. And now it's saying only include posts with specific terms. And I want the latest category because this is latest products, as you can see here. So now that I have my latest products, it's pretty much all that I need here. So let's go in and start adding all our content. So this here, this image here needs to be a loop. So I'm going to select it, hover over here, and then I'm going to click on insert dynamic content. And we're going to set this to loop featured image. And then now you can see it's coming to life. This is going to be our product's name. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to head over to, again, the insert dynamic content. And then it's going to be loop product title. Great. So now I have my product title there. There's a bit of work that I need to do here. I'm going to go into design because I can see my contrast is not looking good. So I'm going to go into my text here, pick a color, and I need to increase the contrast. Okay, I think the contrast is better now. 1.2 rem, I think that is fine, but I'm going to increase it a little bit. Let's go 1.4. Okay, 1.4. Let's do all caps. Let's also add some letter spacing. Okay, I think that looks nice. And then what I'm also going to do for my font weight, I'm going to set this to light. Okay. 1.4. Let's try 1.2. Now, as you're designing, you may need to play around with this to see what the sweet spot is. All right. So now that I have that, I'm going to come over here now, and this is where I need to add my price. So I'm going to, again, click here on the dynamic content, and I'm going to look for my regular price. There we go, 149. And then before that, I'm going to add my $sign like that. And I think that's all I need to do. And then we need to change the color. So I'm going to save that, come over here. I'm going to go into my text here and let's change the color. So for my color, I'm going to use my primary color like that. So this is where you can decide whether you want to have this bold or Yeah, I need the price to stand out. So I'm going to set this to 1.4 rem. Yes. Okay, I like that. So over here now we have the button to work with. So I'm going to click here on the button. And in the button here, I'm going to say buy now. Okay. Next, I'm going to come over here to the loop. No, oops, I don't need to add the loop. I need to go to the link. And for my button link here, I'm going to say loop product URL. Select that, hit apply, and we're good to go. Finally, we need to design the button now. So I'm going to come over here to design a button, activate use custom styles for button. And I'm going to now go with button background and choose my background color. So I'm going to go with my primary color here, just like how I did it before. Go to my border, same thing, border color, primary color, and then the text needs to be very dark. So for my text color here, I'm going to go with my secondary color, and the button needs to be slightly smaller. So I'm going to go to spacing. So padding top, I'm going to say 8 pixels. Wow. Well, that seems to be quite a bit. So let's reduce that. Yeah, I think 3. I like even numbers, so I'm going to go with 2. Yeah, I think that works. Finally, you know, in this group settings here, the way the buttons are, I mean, in fact, the way the content is, I'm not happy with that. So I'm going to go back. And in my layout here, I'm going to make sure that I have space between. So everything is just way too close to the edge. And that is a much better layout. And while I have this selected as well, I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to go to spacing and add padding top and bottom. So 1.2, I mean, 2 is a bit too much. Okay, let's try 2. Okay, I think I'll go with that. So now that I have this all set, I think we're good to go. I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to come back over here to my row settings. Now in my row here, I'm going to make sure I don't have any padding to the top and the bottom. So I'm going to come over here to CSS ID. No. I'm going to come to design, spacing, and then padding 0. There we go. Right, so that's much better now. I'm going to save, come back over here to my row, click in my column here, and in this column, we're going to go into design, and we want all these side by side, so we're going to use row for our direction. And what else do we need to do? The button looks quite big. Anyway, let's first of all save and do a quick preview. Scroll down. Yeah, you see our button here is looking way too big. So we need to reduce that. So let's go and do a few tweaks. So first of all, I'm going to come in here and reduce my padding. So I'm going to go to spacing, set this to 1, do the same over here. Okay, so my button now is much better, but I think I still need to make it slightly smaller. What do you think? So let's go back in here, button, spacing, and okay, so I think padding 0 can work. I think that can work. I want to save. So over here on my preview, I'm just going to refresh this, and that's looking much, much better. Okay, so you can see here our design is starting to take shape, and I really like how it looks. The next thing is I can see my width of my site here is quite thin. I need to fix that. So I'm going to come over here to theme customizer. Is it theme customizer? Let's try it. Yes, theme customizer. We're going to go to general settings, layout settings, and instead of 1080, we're going to set this to 1366. It's a much better size. And for my gutter width here, I'm going to set this to 2. And then I'm going to hit publish. Okay, that's looking great. And now I'm just going to save out of that and do another quick preview. Right. You see now things are looking much, much better. I've got my latest products here, and I also have my products showing here, which is fantastic. Okay. So what we need to do next is to, wow, this looks beautiful. Right. What I need to do next is to add a color. In fact, let me make this caps. Yeah, I need to make this caps. Okay, so I'm going to go back in here like that. Design, text, all caps. And then I'm also going to add a bit of spacing. And then I'm going to change the color, make it dark. How about that? Yeah, that looks much, much better. So I'm going to save this as, I'm going to come over here to my presets. I'm going to save this as section headings. Okay. So I'm going to say new preset. And I'm going to say section dash headings. Okay. I'm going to save that. So that's looking great. Oh, what happened to the size there? Is this a bug or something is going on? Let me just preview this. It should be the right size though. Oh, the size has gone smaller. I don't know why. Let's go back and fix that. So back in here, I'm going to go into design and I'm going to say 1.2 rem. There we go. Right. So what I need to do now is to go into my section headings and then click on this little button here, which says update preset with current styles, like that, and then say yes. Save that. Did it work? Yep, it worked. Fantastic. Now we need another section. So I'm going to click here on this plus button and let's create something different now. So I'm going to have 2 columns. Okay. So in fact, I'm going to have 2 groups. How about that? I'm going to select my first group here. And in this group, we're going to have text. Then I'm going to hover over here, duplicate this, and I need to delete what's in here. Click on the plus button, and we're going to add an image like that. And then let's change the image. So the image I'm going to go with is this one. Upload image. So we want a section here that gives a story about our online store. Okay, so let's go in and give this a bit of a description here. So I'm going to go to my lorem text, grab a bunch of text. Okay, so this will just give our website a bit of context. So I'm going to come back over here, paste that. And then what I'm going to do next is go into my row settings because I need this text and image side by side. So with that, I'm going to go to my column here, design, layout, and you got it. It's Flexbox. So I'm going to choose this option here. Now, do you see that? Now it's side by side, which is brilliant. So we need to have a nice heading in here. So let's go back to our text and get rid of some of this text here. And I'm going to set this as my heading 1. Okay. Let's go to design, heading text. So for our heading 1 here, I am going to change this from regular to bold. And I'm also going to increase my line height. Yeah, I think 1.2 works. Okay, so that's going to be my section right there. And I think we need to be consistent now because when I choose this section here, I know I added some padding. So I'm going to come over here and say new preset from current styles and preset settings. So I'm going to say set section width. Padding, because I know I'm going to use this a lot of the times. So I'm going to hit save preset. Okay. So now when I come to this bottom one, I'm going to select this section, go to my preset, choose that. And then I also need to add a background. I'll come over here and it's going to be a very light gray. So there's one thing that we haven't addressed here, and that is how do things look in mobile? So let's go ahead and fix that. So I want to come over here, take a look at the mobile, and it's not looking good here. It's not looking good here either. So I need to stack these. So I'm going to come to my row, go to my column, and then in my design here, I'm going to go to layout and then stack them. Okay. I think that'll be much better. Can we do the same here? Guess so. I'm going to click here, go to my column, design, layout, and I'm going to stack them as well. And I think this is a much better user experience. Okay, so on the mobile, it's going to look like that as well. Yeah, I think this is brilliant. Okay. For the text here, I think we can even go as far as making it slightly smaller, but you know what? I'm going to leave that as it is. This looks great. I'm going to save that. Now our homepage has been designed. Let's finally do a quick preview for the last time and take a look at this design. So there we go. We have our main page here. Our latest products are showing. And oh, what happened over here? That is why it's important to do a lot of previews as you're designing. Okay, so I'm going to come back. I'm going to go to the column here, design, layout. Okay, this looks fine. Layout direction is fine. What about here? This looks fine. And this looks fine. Okay. I wonder what the issue is. Maybe it's a caching issue because I'm working off of the server. Remember? So let's do a hard refresh. Okay, we'll fix this towards the end anyway. That's fine. But so far I can see that this is looking good. All right, fantastic. The next thing we need to do now is to create our product pages, because when I click on buy now, look what happens. We have this page here and this doesn't look nice. I'm sure you can agree with that. Okay. So we need to upgrade this design and make it look much, much better. All right, so let's start working on that. So let's exit and we're going to go back to our dashboard. So we're going to come all the way down here and go to Divi and theme builder. So the very first thing we need to do is to create a new template, build template, and our template here is going to be the product page. Okay, so we're going to say all products, create template. So our template here is going to be in the main body. So I'm going to say add custom body, build custom body. Excellent. So now we can start building our custom page, because remember, this is what it looks like and we want to improve this dramatically. So the first thing we're going to do is to work on our main section here. So we're going to go in and click on background. We're going to add an image. Click on add background image. In fact, you know what? Let's make it dynamic. Okay. We're going to go in and let's add featured image from here. Okay, great. Now let's add a bit of padding. So we're going to go to design, spacing, and then padding top is going to be, let's start with 6 VW. On the bottom, we're going to set this to 4 VW. Okay, now let's start adding our content. So the first thing we're going to add in here is going to be a single column, and we're going to add a text module. Okay, so our text module here is going to be dynamic as well. So we're going to say post archive title. Or what also works is product title, I think. But anyway, let's just stick to that. All right, now we need to customize this. So we're going to go in And I can see my header area here is not looking great. I need to improve that. So I'm going to come back over here. Oops. I'm going to go back over here and increase my spacing. So let's try 10 and 4. Okay. Now it's time to add a background color. So we're going to click here on our main section, go to our background, and we're going to set this to black. And just like how we did before, we're going to come over here to our background image, and we're going to set this to, where is the option? Image blend. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Multiply. All right, so with multiply on, you can see it's very dark. So I need now to add a bit of transparency. So we're going to bring this down to about 65. And then it's time to adjust our text. So I'm going to come over here, go into design, text, and we're going to set this to 4M. That's a bit too much, but we're going to try something different here. I'm going to go to uppercase. I'm going to go to 1.2. And then the color needs to change. So I'm going to go in and just add an off-white like that. Now I may want this thin just for stylic, to make this, a bit stylish. So I'm going to go with, in fact, let's go light. Okay. So I think that could work. I'm going to save that. Now let's start working on the next section. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to 2 equal columns. Okay, in the first column here, I'm going to have a product image. So I'm going to type Woo image. Okay. So maybe it's not called Woo image. So let's see. Okay, Woo product images. There we go. Right. So that's going to be our main product image. Over here now, I'm going to, let's see. Should we add the title since we have here on the top? Or should we just go straight to description? All right, so let's add all our modules that we need anyway. So I'm going to add my text module. I'm going to add a few of these text modules actually. We need a few of them. And then what I'm going to do, because I can see the gaps here is a bit too much, I'm going to go into my row settings here, go into design, layout, and you can see here we have 5.5%. So I'm going to set this to 2%. Okay. And then for the gap, it's 40 pixels. So I'm going to go 20. Okay. I think that's much better. So the first thing I'm going to do here is to add the product title. So I'm going to go in, click over here, post archive title. And then I'm going to go into design, text, make it slightly bigger. So I'm going to go with 2rem. I'm going to sort out my line height. Okay, so that's great. Next, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to set my product description. So I'm going to again click here on dynamic and product description. There we go. Right, so that's our product description. Next. Right, you know what? This doesn't look right. Let me delete that and that. So let's add it from here. So I'm going to say Woo product description. Here it is. There we go. Can you see that that is much, much better? So you just need to be aware of that when you use this as well. Okay. So I'm going to click here and set my size. I'm going to go into design, text, set this to 1rem. Or let's set this to 1.1. And then I'm just going to set this as a preset. New preset from current styles. And then I'm going to assign this as a default. Okay, great. So I have my title here. I have my description. Now I need my pricing. So let's search for price. And here it is, Woo product price. Fantastic. Now I need add to cart. Click here, search for add to cart. Great. So now you can see everything is starting to come together. So we have our price, we have our add to cart. What else do we need? Perhaps we need a rating. Okay, so I'm going to say rating, product rating. There we go. 2 reviews. I want this right at the top. There we go. So I'm just going to further customize this a little bit. So I'm going to go in and design. And for my text here, in fact, let's go to star rating. What do we have here? Okay, we have the colors. So let's go with 1 rem as the size. Make it slightly bigger. And then the spacing, I want to go with 6. Now that looks much, much better. Okay, so we have our star rating. We may also need to add some sort of stock. So at least we know how much stock is left. And I think we're almost there. Do you think? Let's save. Now, let's exit and save, because we really have to do this. Now, let's take a look at the product. Wow, look at that. Isn't that amazing? So we have the background here. We have the nice, the name here looking great. And we have our add to cart. I mean, it's really coming together now. Now we need to add a bit more information. So let's go back in. So the information we may need to add in here, let's delete that. I don't know what that is. Okay, so the information we may need to add in here, let's take a look and see. Do we have additional information? Okay, we have Woo add to cart. We already have that. Okay, so I think here we're fine. Let's add another section. Okay, so we're going to click here on this plus button, add another column. So this column here is going to be a column where we add our tabs. So let's see Woo tabs, because usually our WooCommerce tabs has more information. And here we go, product tabs. Great. So you can see now we have our Woo product tabs. Okay, so this is going to be a part of this main product here. That's how I want it to be. So the next step now is to add another section. So I'm going to come over here, equal columns. And in this section, we are going to have text. And this is going to be my title. And this title here is going to be similar products. Okay, so we're going to come over here and just type similar products. Okay, so with that now, I'm going to head over to my presets and set it to section headings. Okay. Now I'm going to make this a light gray. So I'm going to come to my background here, click on the plus button, and I'm going to make it a light gray. Okay. Now let's continue on. I'm now going to add another section, equal columns, and I'm going to search for, now, do we have, I'm going to search for WooCommerce. Now I need related products. Do we have Woo related? Okay, let's see. Yes, we have Woo related products. Fantastic. So this solves our problem. So straight away here, I have Woo related products. I can delete this first section here. I don't need that anymore. And just to keep everything clean, I'm going to select this section here, go to my default here, and then I'm going to go with my padding. Right, so everything is now clean. Everything is looking great. Now, because this is related products, I'm going to leave it as it is. Okay, I'm going to hit save. Now, when I come to my product and I refresh, notice what happens. I've got my nice spacing here. Everything looks great. My description and related products. And you know what's even better? If I click on this product here, look, it's looking like this because we have a template. So whatever product I click here, it's going to have a layout that looks similar with all the rest of the products. Now, this design is going to make you look very, very professional. Okay. Now let's go back in here. I can see my text here is way too small. So I just want to fix that by, let's add additional information as well in there, just in case. Right. So it's mostly going to be about my size. So body text size, I'm going to go with 1.1 rem. Okay. And what else do we need here? Tab text, we're going to go with 2 rem. That's a bit too much, so let's go with 1.8 or 1.6. Okay, 1.4. Okay, I think we'll go with 1.2 because it doesn't have to be, too big. So what I may also want to do now is to go in, give this, some rounded corners to match with what we have on our main page. So with our Woo tabs, let's head over to our border, and it's going to be 0.8, I think, or 0.6. Okay, why didn't that work? Woo related products. Image, okay. Border. Oh, there we go. So it's 0.6 rem. There we go. Now it's working. Excellent. We're going to do this. Oh, my rounded corners were applied here. I was applying it on the wrong item. Anyway, let's do this on the same on this image as well. 0.6 image, border, 0.6 rem. Yeah, I like the way this is looking. Right, so now let's refresh this. Look at that. Now we have consistency. Okay. We may want to increase the size of the main hero area here. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to select my section here, and then we're going to go to design, spacing. So all I need to do is to increase and increase that as well. So 12 and 6. Now let's refresh this. Yep, I think that's looking much better. It's a nice and clean design. Okay, so the question now is when I click on add to cart, oh yes, we have a message here which says our item has been added to the cart, which is brilliant. So can I view the cart? Yes. Okay, so these pages now, the cart page and the rest of the pages, they also need to be designed. And I'm going to create a template for those pages. So I'm going to come over here. We're going to save and exit because we're done with this design now. Let's add another one. New template. So this template is going to be for specific pages. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here and select these pages. Okay. And then say create template. Right, now I'm going to go in, build custom body, and for the top part I'm just going to add a single column, and we are going to have a text module. Right, so here for my background I'm going to use my color. From my color palettes I'm going to go with my secondary color, and then for my text here, it's also going to be a dynamic text, post to archive, and I'm going to hit apply. And then we're going to now work with the size. I'm going to go into design, text. So I'm going to go with 1.4 rem. Okay, that's not working. Let's go with 1.8. Okay, we're going to go with 2.6. Now let's make a few customizations to our padding. So I'm going to go in and let's go into spacing. So our padding top is going to be 6 rem. And for the bottom, it's going to be 3 rem. Okay. I think we may need to increase this. Okay, let's go 8 and 4. Okay, now our text here, the contrast is not very good. Let's go in and fix that. I'm going to come over here to design, text, and let's go for our color here. So we're going to go with something like that. And then we're going to save. So what I'm going to do next is to add another section. And in this section, we're going to have post content. There we go, post content. And what we need to do in here, while this is selected, is to make sure that our body text is the right size. So we're going to come over here. It's 1.1 rem. There we go. And I think this should work. I'm going to save that, exit, save one more time. And then over here, oops, that's not the page we're looking for. It's the cart page. Let's refresh now. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So now our pages are going to be labeled. So the cart page is labeled. If I go to my account page, that's labeled. If I go to my checkout page, that is labeled. So we now have consistency in our design. And this is very, very important when you design your websites. I mean, look at that. Really cool. Okay. So now we need to work on our shop page, because as you can see, our shop page is there, but it doesn't have any products. So I'm going to come back over here and oops, that's not what I want to do. Let's close out of here. So I want to remove one of these pages here. I'm going to go into my settings and remove the shop page. Okay. And save, because we need to build our own custom shop page. So let's head over here, build template, and it's going to be specifically for our shop page. And then we're going to say create template. And then in here, we're going to build custom body, and let's start designing. So just like what we did before, we're going to go with a specific size for our background here. So I'm going to go in and let's add spacing. And this time we're going to go with 8VW. Okay, enter. And we're going to apply this to the top and bottom. And let's go add our columns. So we're going to add a text module here. And these text modules, we're going to have 2 of them. Let's go to our lorem text here. Right, so for our lorem text, we're going to go in and paste this. So this is going to act as sort of like a heading. So let's go in here and set our text to, let's say, 5 rem. I'm going to fix our line height. We're going to make this bold. Okay, and then we also need our description text. But you know what, for our text here, it's a bit too much. So let's get rid of, because it just needs to be something very basic. Okay, so now over here, we're going to add a bit of a description. Copy that. I'm going to paste that. Okay, so that's going to be a bit of our description, and then we're going to have a huge image here. So this image, let's head over to our background and choose the image we need to add in here. So I know I have a fact, we're going to use this one here. I prefer that one. There we go. I think that works. But we're going to also play around with the background. So let's go in and set our blend mode to multiply. And then over here on our colors, I'm going to go in, add black, and then I'm going to add my transparency. So we're going to go down to 50. Okay, and then our text here needs to be lighter. I'm going to go into my design text, and then I'm going to pick my color. Okay, so that's going to be my color right there, and this is going to be my description text. Again, the color doesn't look right. Okay. Maybe the text is a bit too much too. So it's up to you, you know, how much text you're going to have in here. But yeah, I think that would do. That's just going to be our main shop page. Now let's add another section. Now this section here is going to have the defaults. So I'm going to come over here and go with the default section padding. And then the rest is going to be quite straightforward here, because I'm now going to add my loops based on my products. So I could start here with the categories. So let's go in and create a group. Okay. And in this group, let's see if I can go in and select my loop. Can I do that? I haven't tried this before, by the way. Right, so it looks like I can select my loop from here. Okay, so now let's start adding our information. So it's going to be my image. It's going to be my text. And then after this text, we're going to have a group. And in that group, we had a button, I remember. And some text. I wonder what happened here, because this isn't this supposed to be my product loop design? Let's see, let's try one more time. Okay, it looks like it's applying the background only. But anyway, we'll get there. So I'm going to select here and make sure that I go into design layout, because our layout here is supposed to be horizontal like that. And then we also need space between. This is going to be our product. So let's come over here and set this to our loop. Oh, we haven't applied our loop, have we? No, we haven't. So let's go in here, loop. There we go. It might work this time, I think. So let's remove this and add products. Okay. And then for our categories, I'm going to say bags. How many do we need to show? I think I'm going to go with 3. And then I need to go into my row settings. My row settings. And then in the column here is where I need to apply my flexbox. I'm going to go to design, layouts, and set my flexbox. Look at that. Right, we're getting there slowly, slowly. So this now needs to be my title. So I'm going to go ahead and click on insert dynamic content. So this is loop product title. And while we're here, we might as well go in and start fixing this. So we want this all caps. We also want spacing and the size as well, because contrast here has to be on point. So I think that should work. Next, we're going to come over here. Let's start with our price. So we're going to go for our dynamic, and it's going to be loop product price. There we go. We're going to add a $sign at the beginning and hit apply. So back over here in this row, in this group, we're going to go back to design, layout, and make sure everything is aligned center like that. It makes a big difference, because it looked a bit weird without that. And then I think this time we can add a description of what this product is. So let's add another text module like that. Right. So with that now, it has to be dynamic. So let's go back in here. So let's go loop product description. But do we have short product description? No. So let's select that. But as you can see, the description is a bit too much. So I'm sure we can customize this, can't we? Okay, let's get rid of it and go back again. I'm going to go back in, loop, product description. I mean, if we can't customize that, we have to do without it, okay? So, because the text is just too much. All right, so we can't do that. Let's get rid of that. And let's just keep it clean. And then for the button here, we're just going to say buy now. Like that. And then make the button smaller by coming over here. I'm going to go into button, custom styles. And then for our button border, no, in fact, we need spacing. Set this to 0 because I remember that's the size we added. Okay. And then for our image now, this needs to be the dynamic as well. So we're going to come in here, product image, apply. Okay. And do you remember what we said this was? Let's go back in. We said that was a loop, but of what products? Oh, bags. Okay. So you can see we have all our bags. So we can have our bags here, give it a title of bags. We can duplicate this, and this can be a different product. I'm going to come over here to our loop. So instead of bags, this can be watches. Oh, that's selected it by itself. That's strange. Let's select watches, or you can even go shoes. There we go. That looks cool, actually. Okay, so that's going to be our main page. How about that? So we duplicate this one more time. So duplicate it. Okay. So shoes, and then this one becomes, so we have bags, shoes, and watches. So this time this is going to be a watch. Come over here, get rid of that, and then choose my watches. So now my product page is populated with my product. So this is what we had. If I refresh this, oh, you know what? I need to save, exit, and then save again. All right. So now I can refresh this. And look at that. We have a nice shop page. And these are all our products. And if I click on buy now, guess what? It takes us to, oh, I forgot to fix that. Let me fix that quickly. So let's go back to our shop, because all these buttons in the loop are supposed to link to the product. So I want to go back in here, and then for the link, click here on dynamic and product link URL, apply, save. Okay, so now we can refresh this. Okay, now look at this. If I click on buy now, it takes us to the page, related products, and everything looks great. That is how you design a WooCommerce store. If you like this tutorial, please give me a like. And also, if you enjoy what you've seen, you can also go ahead and buy me a coffee by going to diviuniversity.com, which is right here. And hey, by the way, you can join the community of Divi users for free by clicking here, and over here you can buy me a coffee if you appreciate my work. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.